Good evening and welcome back. This is the fourth episode of the subjective 2024 retrospective of the MLC Freebies. We are in the Authors of April event, which saw the return of Akam and Rezar. Rezar had not been in the game for 5 years, and they offered him the tech version for $20, which I bought because I was so mad I didn't have him that I spent the money for it. I feel ashamed of that. April was a pretty good month. They had some pretty great cards. Hall of Fame, DDP, Muda, and Showboat Vader were all released in this month, and all of them still see regular play. And then the Final Testament was also released, and for a month that was themed around them, didn't quite go so well. I think the biggest problem with Akam is that the meta changed the very next month. During April, I remember there was a lot of chatter about Akam being the best freebie that they had released in a long time, right after Showboat KO and Kyrie. And I didn't believe it at the time, and now, looking back at it, it's certainly not the case. Akam has a couple of things going for him. So he's not the worst card in the world. If you absolutely don't have any other tricksters on your account, Akam will work for you. He's got a couple of different move sets that he can roll with, but and I'll show you two of them, but I just don't think he holds up. So first off, let's look at the moves real quick, and I'll show you the ones that I'm not going to show you. And that's triple black, where you choose 6 to make into black, the running power slam, make 35 leech into yellow, and the sub, which creates, 42 sub gems, and then the remainder turn into leech. So you can run, choose black to load sub to blow up the leech gems into yellow. Kind of has a hard time reloading. You'd probably set up your entourage to start with the sub, and then hit the running power slam, and then reload with Beetle. Or you can run the Russian leg sweep. So you start with yellow MP trainers, pop it, run sub, run the running power slam, right? It's two different ways to do the exact same thing, but you're focusing on leech gems and sub damage there. The sub's not all that big, and leech gems, unfortunately, are not the most powerful of the gem modifiers in the game. They weren't then. They're still not, unfortunately. I hope they get some love in an upcoming month, like row gems and cross breaks and column gems have as of late. So that's all of his leech gem stuff. The other one is all about the trap gem. The 35 random gems into traps, if broken by your opponent, gain 5 purple MP. But the big one is it will throw 7 randos into yellow. So this is the kind of slot machine trap gem mechanic, just cranked up because it makes 7 of them. But this is actually kind of a detriment in disguise, and I'll show you when we get into the moveset or the gameplay. I'm going to start off with triple purple. This one is difficult because unless you have Carmelo Hayes, you can't get it loaded turn 1 in feud. This 10 MP is a big boy. And 8 is the max that you can start with in feud. I guess 9 is what you can start with in feud with a middle line bonus. It still leaves you 1 short. You gotta find another MP somewhere. So it's either use a prop or you have to use Carmelo Hayes. One of the two. So that's why I'm going to run this one first. He does have a moment. We'll go over it briefly. It is a feud moment. It doesn't help Akam at all. Purple gems do 50% more damage. That's it. He doesn't make immobiles, X breaks, multiplies, blues. I guess he gets a little bit of armor, but like this doesn't help him either way you decide to run him. But it exists. It's there. For his strap, I am going to run 100% gem damage, dual fury 2s, 35%. I forget what this one is. 200% purple move damage. So strap is dimed out. I am running Bubba Ray specs. Whenever you activate a purple move, increase your purple gem damage by 50%. That doesn't help as much as you think it would, unfortunately. This plate, let's ignore it for this particular moveset. If you wanted to, you could put an all heart here. Or maybe a Baddest Jacket would also work. One of the sub plates that increases gem damage. I don't think it matters enough. Tour perks are active, so I am going to be loaded turn 1. I'm using Woods, Gunther for a little bit more purple gem damage. I'm actually using Roman for the create 3 purple, more so than the purple gem damage, and then Taker for the 12k flat. If you move him to 6-star gold, you want to use a percentage yellow, not flat. Gameplay loop is fairly simple. We've seen a lot of cards like this. Sub, then do stuff is essentially the flow. So it's a pretty nice defensive build if you like doing it that way. We've got the gems wantonly. With the entourage, you could also do things like buff his sub, but I don't find his sub all that particularly powerful. And since I am running Bubba's specs, I decided to focus on purple gem damage. From here, so the remaining sub gems turn into trap gems. These trap gems work functionally identical to the power bomb trap gems. All right, so we're just going to use that. And then we're going to hit the finisher. The finisher makes 38 trap gems into purple and then pins. It is a nice 2.6 million move damage finisher, so this helps a lot. But there you go, you blow up a lot of traps. Now, the problem with the kind of slot machine functionality here is, well, you just saw it. We blew up all the traps. We blew up almost every gem on the board. There's no room for the yellows to be created. So it almost doesn't even matter that they make so many yellows, unless you decide to break them by onesies and twosies, in which case you do get a giant cascade, but you're using yellow gems, which is not Akam's primary gem color. So it's kind of 6 one way, half dozen the other. My opponent is 6-star silver LWO Eddie. Because of his health, you can basically 2-cycle this. Especially with the plate boosting purple gems so much. There we go. Got a nice little slot machine there. And that's it. Just a very traditional, it does feel like a very traditional free-to-play sub-loop gameplay. So that's that one. The other way to do it, which is kind of clever, but it's clever for no reason other than being clever, is we can add in this other move, the DDT, choose 6 gems to make into purple. Alright, and then we'll change our entourage out slightly. And basically we're going to focus on yellow MP up. And then we are going to use Powerhouse Rezar to get a little bit extra purple gem damage. I really just wanted to use him because he's his buddy and it was their month. It doesn't matter. You can put whoever you want to here. Probably John Cena would make a lot more sense now that I think about it, but it is what it is. With Akam, it doesn't really matter. Over here, the RKO Overload plate is where this comes into effect. Whenever you make 4 or more purple gems, increase your yellow gem damage by 50% for 2 turns. So this is where you can kind of boost both color gems that you're making kind of in one fell swoop. And you do that by being overly clever. It's you're going to get in your way more often than not running this way, but it is possible. So we have 2 plates now that are going to be buffing both gems that we're going to be using. The problem is you need to make a 5 break and then a 5 swipe. And hope to goodness that you don't cascade. Alright, so there's one that is buffed the yellow gems once. Do it again, that was stupid. Now we're pinning. Both the plates are 2-turn effect, so It will also work next turn after all of the animations are done. But this is kind of a very common thing with this moveset. You are going to cascade more often than not. And I realize that cascade was all my fault, but it is what it is. So from here, it's the same concept throughout the traps, throughout the finisher. I hope you do enough damage to pin him, otherwise you're going to get subbed, and then we're probably not making it back from a sub. And we're probably not going to do enough damage to kill him. That's 7.7 million. Oh, maybe we did. Okay. That's 7.7 million with 2 plates, maxed out strap, Fury 2s, pretty decent entourage. It's what, 14 million at silver, 28, maybe 32 million at gold. It just isn't going to do it. 2024 gave us a better trickster, right? It wasn't an MLC freebie, but it was a freebie. And it's better than Akam in almost every way. This was the first miss of the year. Hall of Fame Tori has her uses. Showboat KO has her uses. His uses. Kyrie is still one of the best women's acros in the game. And then you have Akam. And Akam doesn't do anything better than anybody else. He breaks a lot of purple. So maybe if you absolutely need a purple shield break and boss breaker, or boss battle, I guess he can break a lot of yellows if you slow play it for a yellow shield, but he just doesn't do enough damage to actually run as a fighter. Oh, the other thing we didn't talk about is his training ability. His training ability ain't all that great either. It's specifically for Rizar. And quite frankly, I think Rizar's best moveset doesn't even use this guy as a trainer. So it's X breaks do 50% more damage. Red moves start with 2 more move points. Moves that generate X breaks will create 2 more X breaks. I mean, you got to find somebody who uses red moves and X breaks in order to use Akam. I don't remember using him ever as a trainer. So, you know, it kind of is what it is. This, in my opinion, is the first miss of 2024 as far as the MLC freebies. And I don't see necessarily a path for him going forward unless there's some sort of plate that directly affects the way he rolls, right? I understand that there's the rosy plate. It doesn't help. He still does about the same amount of damage based on what I've seen. So it'd have to be something like make X number of traps get 100% yellow gem damage or 100% purple gem damage or something like that. I don't know. If you've learned anything today, if you found this entertaining, or if you just like the sound of my voice, do me a favor and consider subscribing. Maybe liking, maybe send to a faction mate. I'll talk to you next time.